Did we take too long politicking way after taking oath of office? And did President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua took too long to realize that they were at the helm of Kenyan affairs? Because in the past few weeks, Kenyans have witnessed a very ridiculous situation where we have a spate of robberies here and there. People are being mugged. In fact, Kenyans live in fear. And experts say that maybe we got it wrong from the beginning. And in this video, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at the possibilities why the president and his deputy started on a wrong foot. Kindly subscribe to our channel, ladies and gentlemen, like and share our videos. Now, in one of the radio stations, Mr. George Natembeya, who is the current governor of Trans Nzoia County, released what many call a bombshell, because he was speaking on the insecurity situation that we have witnessed in Kenya. And Mr. Natembeya says that he watched the current administration parading our police officers, especially those who are from the DCI, parading them in front of Kenyans, the people they are supposed to take care of and to give security. And he's saying that this is not only wrong but unacceptable. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly watch this video because it's going to form part of what we want to discuss with you.
Because of God, institutions, the criminal justice system. You know, the other day I was seeing, in fact, I saw some officers from the CID being paraded. You know, when government forms such a unit, it's out of desperation. If our criminal justice system worked, then that will arrest somebody and you have got sufficient evidence, the file is taken to the DPP, he looks at the file on the value of evidence, and this person is taken to court, and the case is prosecuted, and the criminals are jailed. You not require SSU. SSU, some of those units that the CID forms, even this government will form one. I can assure you, we can converge here again after 3 years. So the criminal, instead of criminalizing those guys, I saw them being paraded, is wrong. I'm saying as an outsider, this as an insider, those guys who are doing, they don't do anything. Because criminals are going to rule Kenya. Today, there is no single policeman who will find you being mugged here and he has got a firearm and even intervene. We have reduced our policemen to nothing. We fought Mungiki very firmly and we defeated Mungiki. And we went this other way that these people are condemning. I said the citizens want to cry, and I'm also crying. And that time, this is at powers. So I put my foot down, and Mungiki disappeared. Okay. And even now, people are very happy you can go home and see your mother without you leaving. Somebody can say, I'm sure he left you something, bring money. The government is about enforcing the law. If the law enforcement become cowardly, then we have a problem. The government, and I want to challenge our president, because he's a young guy and he's very enthusiastic about transforming this country. We're going to support him. He must ensure that the new IG addresses the problem of cowardice in the police service. It's the single most challenging thing as we speak now. Those guys would rather go and harass women who buruchanga than face a cattle rustler. One cattle rustler can hold 20 GSU officers at ransom in their camp. One guy. But if you shoot a thug, IPOA is there. You have to explain how you did this. Nobody wants to do those explanations. So you rather just keep quiet. You don't shoot anybody. Nobody will ask you why you do not shoot a thug. So how do you enforce the law?
If you listen very carefully to Mr. George Natembeya, and Mr. George Natembeya is one person who is very well much conversant with security issues. He was part of the security or system in Central when we were at the height of Mungiki menace, and he managed to calm it and he managed to eradicate it almost completely. And then immediately before he vied for the Trans Nzoia County gubernatorial position, he was the county commissioner in Rift Valley, where he battled castle rustling and tribal clashes every now and then. So whatever he talks about in security-wise is something that must be taken seriously because he's got experience. And Mr. Natembeya is saying that the current administration started on a very wrong foot, and he says that we played politics even with sensitive matters like security. And Mr. Natembeya is saying that our police officers cannot be paraded in front of the whole world watching them as if they do not have dignity. He was referring specifically, ladies and gentlemen, to the recently disbanded Special Service Unit that was under the former DCI, Mr. George Kinoti. This is something that I would call a thought-provoking question, and Mr. Natembeya is trying to invite Kenyans to a discussion. Do you think we got it wrong? Because he was talking about the disbanded SS unit, and he is also adding that the police is given firearms to walk around with. Yet when they are faced with the situation where they are supposed to shoot, they are afraid and will be very reluctant, because when they shoot, then the high power will be at their doorstep asking why they killed, and the human rights will also be asking while the policemen are butchering their fellow Kenyans. Is there a thin line between respecting human rights and extrajudicial killing? What exactly is extrajudicial killing? Because our policemen are sometimes caught in situations where if they don't shoot, then they themselves will be shot and they will be dead. Do we have a clear explanation of what extrajudicial killings is and what exactly are they supposed to do? And the administration, ladies and gentlemen, got its foot wrong from the word go. I have realized and I've studied how our President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua have been operating ever since they took over power. And I realized that, in fact, in his own very words, our deputy president says that he cannot believe that the very officers, the police officers who used to come to his doorstep on Friday to arrest him so that he could spend a whole weekend in police cells, are the same people who are now giving him security. They have not accepted. They are not cognizant of the fact that politics is over. The campaigns are over. They should now sit down and get to work. There's something that is trending in social media where the president said that we will soon have our own smartphone, that the smartphones that will be manufactured in Kenya and they will cost less than 5,000 Kenya shillings. And he said that this is going to happen in the next 8 months. And Kenyans were making jokes and some are seriously asking that the president requested Kenyans to give him a year so that he could bring down the prices of unga. Yet he's saying that in less than 1 year we will have phones that cost less than 5,000 Kenya shillings. And they're asking, do we prioritize our issues as Kenyans? Is the president and his deputy having their priorities wrong? I want us to revisit the issue of insecurity in the country, ladies and gentlemen. One of the things that have happened is that this administration decided to paint the former president in bad faith. Everything that the former president did, everything that he initiated, they want to make Kenyans to look like everything was wrong, the president was incorrigible. Let's take a good example, something like subsidies on unga. Without giving an alternative, the government decided to abandon and remove the subsidies, yet they have not given any solution, any alternative. So Kenyans continue to buy unga at a very exorbitant price, yet something that was placed by the administration just to help alleviate this has been done away with. The kazi mtaani is another one. Just because it was initiated by Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, it is wrong in the face of Mr. Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. And they went overboard when they started introducing some of these measures into the security. Security is always very, very sensitive. They should have not gone to abolish the special service unit simply because it was initiated by the government, the previous government. Look at the result that we are in now. By abolishing the subsidies, prices are high. By abolishing the kazi mtaani, vijana hawana kazi, they have nothing to do, there's a lot of drought and hunger. And then by deciding to go full throttle to abandon and to arrest police officers, the situation is now dire, because if you listen to Natabel saying that the criminals in Kenya now understand that the police is in a mess, they are in a quagmire. There is no way you can set up a police officer against another. You want them, or you are like compelling them to go and stand in a court of justice to confess maybe falsehood charges against their fellow brothers. You see, the security, in the security line, they work under scratch my back, I scratch yours. In fact, if you've listened and you've followed that story, it is almost coming to a conclusion without materializing to what the allegations that the government has said, because it is now turning out that there is no evidence. All the CID officers who are arrested, they don't have a threshold to charge them. It is like a wild goose chase. The transition and handing over from the previous administration to this administration is really wanting. And this is because partly there was already bad blood between the transition committee that had been selected by the president. Because some of them, in fact, majority, 3/4 of the members of the transition committee were the very members that formed the National Security Council and National Security Advisory Board. And in his own very words, the president now says that when he was the deputy president, he was sidelined and he was not even attending the meetings, the national security meeting that is supposed to be chaired by the president, then the deputy is supposed to be there. And so people like Mr. Matiang'i were not in good terms, yet they were the people who were supposed to hand over. There was supposed to be an amicable handover transition that ensures that these matters of security are handled with a lot of caution. Now, it would have been the business of the current administration to ensure that they retain some of the security officers just to, in form of orientation, to be with the current administration, just to show them how some of these things are done into the offices. But you see, with a lot of pride, they decided to kick all the security officers. Immediately he started, he was going after Kinoti. Immediately he started, we heard that the DPP was now saying that he was compelled to level charges, and they were painting Mr. Kinoti in bad faith. Under normal circumstances, they should have retained some of the officers in those offices just to be with the new guys for like 3 to 6 months for a smooth power handover, and this would have remedied the situations. Kenyans are calling upon the president and the deputy president to come to terms with the reality. Kenyans do not want promises. Ensure that all those things that you promised during the campaigns are implemented. Other promises like funds that are coming the next 1 year are not only making Kenyans look like they don't know what they're doing, but it is very much unacceptable. I believe our president is able, and if he sets his house in order, then very soon Kenyans will have halal sadi baba. Halal sadi kiki. Mama choka na nuka binji. Ini binjo ki.
Sitieko.
Baba yuli kanya dengado. Wao yuli mando wachoka nyugi ko lala. Experts are saying that we really need to have a conversation around our security system and around policies that are structured by this government. Yesterday, I think the president chaired a cabinet meeting where they passed several resolutions, and we are counting on this government to ensure that they implement all the things that they promised to Kenyans. The Hustler Nation is watching, and they are very much expectant, Mr. President. I believe that you will soon settle down so that the church meetings on Sundays will not be used to tell us more about the state capture, but to tell us just how you want to implement all the promises that you gave to the hustlers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my thought. Thanks for watching.